has been like for her in the circle, now wearing a Sooner uniform, and man, has she settled in. Just a seamless transition. DJ, you and I have talked about the smiles, the relaxed nature, just the calm demeanor that we saw from her in day one when she got her first start here at Loves Field. She's a vet.
And it shows through in everything that she does, right? And so good to see Maxwell in the circle, getting to maybe shake a couple things out after coming out of the bullpen late in the game in the nightcap yesterday. And Maya Davis set to lead it off for the Raging Cajuns. The lefty, bit of an issue for the Sooners yesterday. Going 2 for 3 in the game. Kelly Maxwell opens it up with a swinging first pitch strike, and we're underway here in Norman, Oklahoma. Along with Aaron Miller-Thiessen, Nicole Mendez, I am DJ Sanchez. Davis shows bunts so much of what she does in the box.
Yeah, and talk about her being an issue right now. This defense for Oklahoma, they're in the shift. They didn't do that until the very end of the game yesterday, but you only have 2 outfielders, 3 infielders on that left side of the field. Just trying to get her out.
And Kelly Maxwell will do just that, keeping Maya Davis off the base paths. Good start for Maxwell.
Man, this crowd is fired up this morning. I mean, I can hear them in my headset. Our windows are open. We can hear them right in front of us, but they are loud this morning. Maybe they're just happy that Oklahoma was able to get Davis off the base path.
It's always a good way to start the day, right? Junior Maddie Hayden stands in, another lefty-lefty matchup.
This is a good matchup for Louisiana, a team that really struggles against left-handed pitching. Looking at their numbers compared to right-handed arms, 266 against righties.
2 outs.
267 against lefties. Overall, this team hits about 300 for average, depending on who they're facing. So I think that this is going to be a challenging matchup for Kelly Maxwell. They're pretty evenly balanced between right-handed and left-handed arms.
I mean, we talked about how she's going to want to come back and be sharper and finish off the weekend. This is a challenge that she wants. She doesn't want it to be something where she's just kind of cruising by. She's going to have to work to get some solid outs. Going to have to work to help out her defense.
Junior Sam Rowe stands in. 1 for 2 in the matchup yesterday. She takes the 1-0 high. And Aaron, you were really impressed with what you saw from Sam in the box yesterday.
I've been impressed with what I've seen from Sam all the way from last weekend. Got to cover Louisiana when I was in Austin, the Longhorn Invitational, or the Lone Star Invitational. One of those. They've got a lot of tournaments with a lot of names. I want to know who has that job.
Just name them 1, 2, 3.
Yes, exactly.
They're just trying to make our life harder. That's all it's about.
She just takes a really healthy cut. She's an aggressive swinger, has a good eye, very strong lower body. You can see the active take there. She just stays in it. She reminds me a lot of Alyssa Brito in that sense, where even when the swing isn't pulled, it's an intimidating stance. She really takes up a lot of space in the box, and that is why you see her in the 3-hole. She's a mainstay for this order.
Maxwell fires the 3-1, and there is that eye you were talking about, Aaron, as Rowe is aboard with a 2-out walk.
This is what you're going to see from Louisiana. I know they've struggled, right? This is something that we talked to Glasgow about, the frustration that he's seen from this team. But the athleticism doesn't waver. Look at that take. The lower body's involved. She's able to keep the barrel back. And that's something that Kelly Maxwell's going to have to know going into this, is that the misses have to be sharp. DJ, you and I talked about that yesterday, the competitive location. Even when it's out of the zone, you're not going to see this team chase.
Junior Alexa Langliers stands in with a runner at first and 2 outs. As Maxwell fires the 1-0. And speaking of locations, hitting the screwball on the outer half. Langlier's on the year, 229. Was hitless in the game yesterday.
To your point, yes, they've struggled this weekend, but they're a team that's dangerous because they have been struggling and they are within reach, they're within grasp, trying to get a win.
The 1-2, Langlier's just gets enough of it to stay alive. Maxwell back to it. You know, we've talked so much, again, I think we know what this Raging Cajun team can do, not just offensively, but in all facets. They're well coached. They are an athletic team. Again, this junior class was the #1 recruiting class in the country in 2022. 1-2, foul just over the bag. Good job by Brito. How many ground balls have we seen straight over the third base bag this weekend?
Too many to count. This one, I mean, that's barely foul.
Maxwell fires the 1-2. Langlier's putting together a good at-bat here in the first inning.
And you love to see that if you're Louisiana or you're a hitter who's on deck or going to come up. You want to see as many pitches as possible. What does Kelly Maxwell look like today? What pitches are she going to in this inning? What can I expect?
Curveball just misses low, and you can hear the Sooner fans groan. Good take from Langlier's. Aaron, you've talked so much about competitive misses. That's one right there on the 2-strike count.
This is a patient team. They only take the first strike about 40% of the time.
Speaking of strikes, Kelly Maxwell sits her down on strikes with the rise ball. It's a score a little different, much as we've seen all weekend. Alyssa Brito in the leadoff spot, and rightfully so. 583 on the weekend. A pair of bombs and 5 RBI. She has been on fire. Tiare Jennings in the 2. Riley Ludlam getting a shot in the 3-hole with Kinsey Hansen in the 4. Riley Boone in the 5. A little bit of a different look for Booney in the middle of the lineup. So seeing that same shift we've seen all weekend in the 1 through 9.
Aaron and I were joking before the game. Like, the competitor in us says, okay, what is this lineup going to be today? Can we guess? Is there a reason why? Why is Coach Gasso doing this?
Raging Cajun starting pitcher Chloe Riasetto does something that it's been difficult for every pitcher to do this weekend. Get Alyssa Brito out, and she does it for the first out of the inning. But Riasetto on the season, 3-2 with a 3.32 ERA. Last outing against Miami of Ohio this weekend, but this is a pitcher that the Sooners have not seen from Louisiana. Riasetto, a sophomore. As Jennings stands in.
She's already using her defense. That's something that she's known for. She lives in the river. You're not going to see Riasetto miss over the wide of the plate often, and you can't when you face an offense like Oklahoma.
Jennings laces it right past Langlier's at second base, and she is aboard with a 1-out single.
This is something that I saw in Austin a lot. When I got a chance to cover Louisiana, Langlier's got absolutely exposed, got tested at second base. This is now the 13th game in a row that we have seen them have a defensive miscue. Is that going to get called an error? No. Should that be fielded? Should the play be made? Yes.
Absolutely. And kind of to look back in game 1 as Riley Ludlam stands in. Look back at game 1. This game started with an E6. And from there, you could just see the pace and tone of the game change. It's ground ball right to Vasquez. They're going to try to spin it, and they'll do it. And defense stepping up for the Raging Cajuns to roll a pair and get out of the...
And if you're ULL, your goal is to move around the zone, make these Oklahoma hitters feel off balance, make them feel uncomfortable. If you can get them to feel that 3-4 innings, as a pitcher, you've done your job. And tag team, ULL, they're able to use their staff, so you want to utilize that. But you got to do your job during those moments.
Another pop-up on the right side. Alina Torres is going to take care of it, and it's 2 quick outs to start the second inning for Kelly Maxwell. Nicole, how are you feeling about the way Kelly Maxwell's mixing her pitches so far?
I like it, especially with the umpire behind the plate. We saw him Friday, and his zone is tight. He is tight on the corners. Kelly knows that. Being able to bounce back, she's going to have to battle through those corners. So she said, all right, I'm going to go a little bit more up. I'm going to go a little bit more off speed and then get ahead that way. And then she's able to use that backdoor, use that curveball tight in with the hands.
2 quick outs brings up Jordan Campbell, the DP. Maxwell rocks and fires.
This team swings at the first strike that they see 60% of the time. That's got to be something that Kelly Maxwell and that this pitching staff knows coming into play Louisiana. So the first strike that she's attacking the zone with cannot be too sweet.
1-1 upstairs, but struck well deep to left field, and that's going to get out of here for a solo home run by the senior Jordan Campbell. Her second home run of the season, and that'll get the Raging Cajuns up to an early lead, 1-0 here in the top of the second. Aaron, you were just talking about the aggressiveness of this team. Jordan Campbell saw something that she could handle.
That's the approach. This is what Kelly Maxwell is up against. This is a ball that is well at the shoulder, above the letters of the jersey. This is not a bad pitch. This is well placed out of the hand of Maxwell, but when you've got a team that comes in with a game plan, they know they're going to see the curveball. They know they're going to see the elevated fastball or the rise spin. If you can come in with a game plan, trust the game plan, and wait for Kelly Maxwell to pitch into it, you're gonna see some of that. You're gonna see the ball leave the yard.
This Raging Cajun team has pop as the 8-hole hitter Cecilia Vasquez stands in and shows bunt. She'll pull it back. They'll say she did for a ball. Count runs to 1 ball and a strike.
We saw this yesterday, late for Kelly Maxwell, giving up 2 home runs, coming in to close a ball game. Both Megan Fortner and Byram late in the 5th inning.
To your point, I think you talked about the aggression of UL. If you're going to throw a rise ball, it needs to be a little bit higher, or it needs to be a little bit more on those corners.
1-2 gets the chase right back to Maxwell, and she'll take care of it. Good response, but not before the Raging Cajuns take better than that. As Hansen, the senior, stands in to lead off the bottom of the second. She'll get it done. 1 pitch, and Hansen is aboard. And you gotta love the response, having Maxwell's back.
She takes her role seriously as a catcher. She wants to have her pitcher feel comfortable behind the plate, work for her, get her extra strikes, but as a hitter.
Boom pushes the bunt, and what a great play by Sophie Piscos, eating it up and taking care of Boone at first base, but that will move Hansen up to second and into scoring position for Sydney Sanders.
The speed of Boone, you have to crash like that. That is a great play by Piscos. She fielded that ball. I mean, she was in front of the bag, but she fielded that ball over close to the pitcher's mound, or the front of the circle.
Without a doubt, if I'm Maria Seto, I'm elbow deep in the numbers right now. I don't know. I'm over here just analyzing this team. But
I like it.
this is a team that doesn't swing at a lot of first pitches. Strike or ball, no matter what. I mean, you just saw Kinsey Hansen take a swing at the first pitch. She only does that 20% of the time. There really isn't a single person in the starting 9 that swings at first pitches over 30% of their at-bats. If I'm Riasetto, I am hammering the strike zone early. I'm going to get myself ahead of one of the most potent lineups in the entire nation.
You're putting together scouting reports over there
I'm
for
doing
people,
it.
Aaron. Struck well, but gonna hook foul down the left field line. Count runs even at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
But to Mendez, key of the game for Louisiana, if you're going to mix pitches, the only way to do that is to get ahead. That's the only way to set yourself up to throw your stuff.
Two popped up on the infield. A little bit of communication, but shortstop Cecilia Vasquez is going to take care of it, and got a little dicey there for a moment, but want to see something a little different from Sydney Sanders in this situation.
I agree. I think when you are sitting in the box with a duck on the pond, less than 2 outs, you got to find something a little bit sweeter to barrel up. If you can't hit a double with it, don't pull the trigger.
Especially in a 2-1 count. You want it to be pretty.
Freshman Cassidy Pickering stands in, takes the 1-0 upstairs. And Riasetto behind here, 2 balls and no strikes.
It's like a magic trick. I didn't know if I needed to write F4, F6. I honestly didn't know who caught that ball.
Pickering, the freshman, we've seen her this weekend higher in the lineup, sometimes in the 2 spot. In the 7 here today as 2-1, another curveball, paints the outside corner. And Riasetto back in this count quickly, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Pickering on the year, seeing that average creep up to 476 for the freshman. 13 RBI.
I mean, she's batting 600 with 2 outs.
And I love that stat even more coming from a freshman, right?
Yeah.
2 outs and finding a way to get something done. See if she can do it here.
What that tells me, though, we just talked about it a little bit with Sanders, of going after that high pitch. She's comfortable getting to the 2 strikes. She's comfortable battling, fouling off pitches until she gets the one she wants.
3-2, swing and a miss. And Riasetto leaving runners stranded for the 2nd inning in a row. We head to the top of the 3rd. Louisiana on top, 1-0.
You could tell she just wants to learn. She wants to know more. She gets players like that.
We head to the top of the 3rd inning. Louisiana on top 1-0 after a solo shot back in the 2nd. And Kelly Maxwell had a great start yesterday, but her last few innings here have been a little bit shaky. 3 home runs given up in couple innings of work. Seeing if Maxwell can get right here as this game continues. And 9-hole hitter Kayla Falterman stands in. Falterman yet to have a hit on the season. Lefty swings straight through, and good to see Maxwell ahead here. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Nicole, anything you're seeing? I mean, we saw a tremendous outing from Kelly, and she's been outstanding all season. But anything different you've seen here in the last couple innings?
Had that pitch just leaking over the heart of the plate. That one nice on the corner. But this is the pitch that has been missing from Kelly Maxwell. Look at the location and where this ends. It dies off at the end. That's what getting ahead does. But it doesn't finish over the middle of the plate. It continues to draw. It continues to run across. the ones that's been hit hard, they've been too much on the plate. They've either been dead red or they've been in that yellow zone.
The strikeout will roll it back to the top, and Maya Davis, as she swings straight through, strike one. Davis retired in the first inning, and that was a huge out. Davis is kind of the table setter for this Raging Cajun offense.
Back to that defensive shift. You can see Jada Coleman drawing in. She's standing at true second base. So you've got 5 infielders, essentially 6 with Maxwell in the circle. This is one of those situations you can't miss if you're Kelly Maxwell. You got to keep the ball low, and she does. Gets the K.
Back-to-back strikeouts, and you can see Kelly Maxwell starting to turn it on.
If you mess high, right? If you throw or elevate this pitch and you see something in the outfield, I mean, there was not a single defender in center. You can so easily get burned in that situation if you miss as a pitcher. It takes a lot of confidence in your arm.
Junior Maddie Hayden stands in. The lefty 0 for 1, grounded out right back to Maxwell back in the first inning.
Remember the days of the Paige Lowry shift?
Oh, man.
I got burned a couple times on that, but
my heart rate always started to elevate in those moments.
Mine too. I would be set up in center field, and I looked over to left field, and there was no one there.
My mind watching any sort of shift always goes back to as a coach calling pitches, and I'm sitting there going, you better hit your spot. If you do not hit your spot, we're gonna have a really tough conversation. The 1-1 grounded up the middle, and it's a 2-out single for Maddie Hayden.
Man, Maddie Hayden, she's been the story for me for Louisiana. 7 multiple hit games coming into this weekend, a team leading 13 hits coming into this weekend. Specifically, just against Power 5 teams coming into Norman. She's 13 for 31. She's batting .419 against the top pitching in the nation. She's it for me.
And rightfully so, as Sam Rowe stands in, takes the first pitch in for called strike 1. Rowe walked back in the first. And I'm with you, Aaron. This is just such a talented offense. And I think it's just them finding their stride.
I don't think their record tells the true story. I don't think that their stats tell the true story. That was some of the frustration that Jerry Glasgow had talked to us about, is he really thought that this team would be in a much different position from a win-loss perspective at this point in the year.
0-2 misses in the dirt. Hayden's gonna take off. Hansen has no shot. And just like that, Raging Cajuns have a runner in scoring position with 2 outs, and Sam Rowe at the plate. This is the position you want to be in.
A true one-hop right off the white of the plate. I think that Hansen is frustrated she didn't handle that ball better.
Here comes the 1-2, misses upstairs. You know, and to your point, Aaron, talking to Jerry Glasgow, and again, I've known Jerry since I was a kid, but someone who will continue to grind and find a way to get this team moving. Speaking of moving, Kelly Maxwell, a trio of strikeouts in the inning, works around and scoring, a runner in scoring position, and we head to the 1-0. Alina Torres, Jada Coleman, and Alyssa Burrito due up for the Sooners, looking to get something moving. But Chloe Riasetto has been good this first time through this Sooner lineup.
She has, not getting rattled by that hard hit in the first, couple of hard hits in the first inning, but just sticking to her stuff, allowing time for her defense to settle in. But Aaron, you said it, her stuff looks good. She is, whenever a pitcher feels herself, I mean, getting settled, that's all you need.
It looks like she's prepared for what she's facing, even just in this at bat. Again, back to just stats and numbers, scouting this team.
Torres chases up in the zone and will sky it high to right fielder Kayla Falterman for the first out of the inning. And back to Chloe Riasetto, looking sharp.
Yeah, again, it looks like she's done her homework. Just in the at-bat against Torres, who takes till she gets a strike 85% of the time. Of course, she's going to throw in right over the meat of the plate. Like, she's taking what this team is giving them. And not a lot of pitchers have the bravery to do that against an Oklahoma offense.
Jada Coleman stands in the 9 slot today. Not a place we see her too often, but talked a lot about this offensive lineup being shaken up, continuing to find the right chemistry, if you will. Riasetto falls behind 2 balls and no strikes.
You know, a phrase I had underlined in my notes from talking with Coach Gasso that she felt like she hadn't seen until really Mary Nutter was that this team didn't look alive. It looked like they were just kind of going through the motions. And she said there's a difference between existing as a team and really living as a team. And I can tell you this team through now 2 1/3 innings have just existed. They've kind of floated through. It doesn't really look like they've taken charge of the moment. It doesn't even look like they're really enjoying what's going on. They're just here. It's really quiet. We heard the fans. Nicole Mendez, you talked about it. It sounded loud in the stadium when we got here, and since then the energy just hasn't been here.
I think every single one of us, as Alyssa Brito stands in and laces a single into center field, and it's back-to-back base runners for the Sooners.
You got to talk about it up here a little bit.
If anybody's going to bring the energy, if anybody is going to live in the moment this weekend, it's Alyssa Brito. She has been so good. Handles this inside pitch. Doesn't get all of it, but you talked about the aggression, the way she moves through the zone. She's able to create power, generate power. That's what that swing was.
And as sharp as Riasetto has been in this ball game, worked around some jams. Victoria Valdez goes out to have a chat with her pitcher. But the walk, I don't think that we gave enough oomph to the Jada Coleman walk. In the 9-hole, rolling it back over to Alyssa Brito, who has been on fire this weekend. But good at bat by Jada Coleman to potentially open the floodgates here for the Sooners.
Getting a walk in the 9-hole, especially with 2 outs to turn the lineup over, that's a huge success in small moments. Talk about game within a game all the time. Because now all of a sudden you've got 2 on, you got a 2-out rally, a 1-out rally here.
Also, back in the first, Brito and Jennings, they both have really hard hits. So to be able to have a runner on base whenever those batters come up again.
The 0-2 to Jennings, just misses outside. Good take. You mentioned it, Nicole. Jennings 1 for 1 here on the afternoon. Had a single back in the first, but was stranded.
Good pitch.
Talk about making a pitch. And Riasetto records her 2nd strikeout of the day, and it's a big one to bring up Riley Ludlam.
I mean, this is an off speed. It's down in the zone. Jennings, she doesn't chase often, but she has been pounding the zone so well that if you're Oklahoma, you're like, okay, we have to go after it. We have to get these pitches.
Ludlam grounded into a 6-4-3 double play back in the first. Has an opportunity here with a runner with Jada Coleman at second and Alyssa Brito at first to potentially tie this ball game up as Riasetto falls behind 2 balls and no strikes. And Aaron, you were talking about just wanting to see this team get in a groove, get moving. wake up. Do you feel like some of that comes from, again, runner on base back in the first, grounded into a double play. Runner in scoring position in the second, popped up on the infield. How much do those types of at-bats maybe take the wind out of your sails a little bit?
The way you really sum it up, and you hear Coach Gasso talk about this all the time, is productive outs. Productive outs, productive opportunities. We haven't really seen a lot of those. I wonder what's under review here. It looks like umpires walk into the review screen.
It might be that they're saying Jada Coleman left early, just on the pitch, just on the leadoff, but they are watching her. They know the speed. I don't blame them for having a close eye, but we saw it last time they played UL. They use their calls early. They use their reviews very early in the game. And if you can get an out here, get Jada Coleman out, momentum killer.
Changes the landscape of the game, right? I mean, we've seen a lot of that this weekend of opposing teams reviewing base running and reviewing things more against the Sooners. We saw it in the Miami of Ohio game as well.
Even a hit by Brito just down the line. That one was under review.
Yep.
This has been a trend across the nation.
Yep.
I've seen so many coaches. Guys, they are specifically assigning players or a staff member to just look at base runners leading off the bases. If there's something even close, specifically in an opportunity like this that would end an inning, they're going to challenge it. Why would you not?
You took the words out of my mouth,
Why would you
Aaron.
not?
Why would you not? If the opportunity is there, and think of how much fight went into getting review in the first place.
This may be correct.
So as we're looking at it on the screen,
And
it's going to be tight.
and back to the little things.
Listen, Jada Coleman's aggressive on the base pass. I'm not telling you anything you don't already know.
What could be an inning-ending moment?
And again, it's about everybody doing their part. It's the people who are in the dugout who are assigned to watch these runners. Maybe you don't get the chance to step on the field, but if you get this out because of your observation, that is huge. Oklahoma threatening, finally getting some energy, not just existing, and you just take that away. That's big.
The review has taken a moment, and here's what we've got from the video reviewable plays rulebook. So 9 different things that you can take a look at, and we've seen a lot of them this year. And this weekend, really, as far as that goes. Seen a couple of looking at the fair foul, hit by pitch, dead balls. Right now,
I wonder
taking a look.
how quickly we're going to start to see number 5 come into effect. Boy, that was a knockdown, drag-out conversation the past few seasons, the old obstruction rule.
Looks like we are going to get an answer, and she is out, leaving early, and the Sooners are run out of an inning, and the Raging Cajuns get out of yet another jam. We head to the top of the 4th. Louisiana on top 1-0. This is Sooner Softball from OU Health. 1-0. I'm DJ Sanchez along with Nicole Mendez and Aaron Miller-Thiessen. 4-5-6 due up for Louisiana as Alexa Langlier stands in, a strikeout victim back in the first inning, and Sooners run out of an inning. And the ruling after the review is that Jada Coleman left early, and as you watch it on the replay, it wasn't even close.
This was a clear call. I'm just going to tell you guys, listening in at home, you better buckle in, because you're going to start to see this across the entire nation. I've already seen it across, I think, 5 different teams that I've covered. It's now a strong card that you can play, and it'll change the momentum of the game. It just did right here. It's a 1-0 ball game, and UL's leading.
Maxwell ahead here, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Louisiana on top after a solo shot back in the second by Jordan Campbell. Sooners threatened in the bottom half of the 3rd, and curveball just misses inside. Good location from Maxwell. But Sooners threatening, and we've talked so much about the impact of the review on the game. and we just saw it. But I think we have got to tip our hats to that Raging Cajun dugout.
Absolutely. Every piece matters. Doesn't matter if you're the pitcher and you got to get your scout right, which we have seen them do. Doesn't matter if you're the coach and you're trying to put together a strategy offense. Doesn't matter if you're a player who's sitting in the dugout looking to see if anybody leaves early. Every single piece matters whenever you're on a team, especially in this day and age.
3-2 laced and hit well to left field. It's going to bounce off the wall. Langlier's rounds first, but she's going to be held up for a hard hit single.
It looks like Pickering was almost caught off guard with the way that ball played off the fence. This is part of learning the new turf, right? This is part of learning your new house, your new territory. I think that this could have been a double. We saw a little bit of conservative base running from Langlier's there. You know what else? I'm wondering just how much is left potentially in the tank for Maxwell. We're starting to see some really strong, aggressive, consistent swings against what she's throwing.
Single brings up senior Sophie Piscos. Flew out to center field back in the second. But Piscos has got some pop, had a grand slam against Miami of Ohio here on Friday.
To that point, Erin, I mean, look at that swing. That was aggressive. Yes, she swung and missed, but it was aggressive. She looked on time, just missed.
The 0-2 popped up. Maxwell's going to take it herself, and that's a huge out. The out brings up Victoria Valdez. And you look at the pitch count on Kelly Maxwell, and Erin, you brought this up, how much she has left in the tank. We're in the 4th inning, and 53 pitches thrown for Maxwell today. Paige is making her work.
And I don't even mean like energetically in the tank. I just think from a staff management standpoint, how much longer does Coach Gasso and Coach Rocha want to leave her in the circle? They're seeing her well. And it's not that she's throwing bad pitches. The location's there. Some days there are teams that just have your number. They just are seeing your ball well, and it feels like Louisiana just has it today against the lefty of Maxwell.
I mean, we talked about UL and how they are hungry and how Glasgow was surprised that they didn't have as many wins going into where they are right now. He thought they would have more. This is a good team. They have powerful swings, good pitching. It's like that hitter who's in a slump, and you just need that one hit, and then you're fine. UL is looking for that one win.
Maxwell brings the 2-0 as Hayden takes off. Throw gets away into center field. She's going to slide into third and get thrown out. Langlier's thrown out at third base. And we're going to see a review, but at this point, base running, there's one rule: never get thrown out at third base.
Glass is fired up. This throw is uncharacteristically wide, but to run on Jada Coleman.
I think it's interesting. There's this exchange at third base between Langliers and Glasgow, and he's asking her, should I go to the headset? Should I review this call? It looks for a second like she says yes, and then she talks him out of reviewing it. I think now we're going back to the decision to review this call. Every single time I see Jada Coleman make a play like that, it's as if I'm surprised to see it. And I don't know why I continue to be surprised at plays like that. She is the Bo Jackson of the outfield, in my opinion.
I love that analogy.
She is the most athletic outfielder, the most athletic softball player, maybe most athletic female athlete I've ever seen.
And Jerry Glasgow is fired up, and rightfully so. Again, this is a team right now. We talk about the uncharacteristic throw going out into center field from Kinsey Hansen. right? Langeliers takes off on a good base running play, but then follows it up with something. That's a mistake you can't make when you're ahead 1-0 midway through a game against the Sooners.
We're going to take a look at this tag one more time.
And the tag was a little high.
Was the foot in? No, I think she's out.
I think she got
She's
her.
out.
And you could tell whenever Glasgow was asking her, like you said, she went back and said no, and the call stands. She's out at third.
Call will stand, and what a change in momentum as Jada Coleman takes care of business and throws Langeliers out at third base. Make it 2 outs for the Sooners, and Jada Coleman doing what she always does.
It's as good as it gets. You live for those moments as an outfielder. She has got an absolute cannon of an arm. The reaction time, the urgency, just the quickness in the outfield, unmatched.
The 3-0 is going to miss upstairs, and it is a 4-pitch walk delivered from Kelly Maxwell to Victoria Valdez to bring up Jordan Campbell. And Campbell has been the difference maker so far in this ball game. Had the solo home run back in the second. And that's been all she wrote on either side. 1-0.
3 pitches we've seen in that same location. I want to go back to Valdez's at bat just before Langeliers took off to second. That pitch almost hit Valdez. And then the ball 4 up in the zone. Then we see an immediate 1 ball, no count to start off Campbell. And this again, this goes back to my comment. I just wonder how much gas is left in the tank for Maxwell in a 1-0 ball game. And she just, it's not as sharp as we're used to seeing out of the lefty. The misses aren't competitive. We're not seeing a lot of swing and misses on the curve and the rise. It's just not as sharp as we're used to from her.
And one thing Kelly Maxwell was yesterday in her start, she was efficient. Hitting good locations. Now, with all of that being said, we don't have a tremendous view of the bullpen up here in the booth, but you also see Coach Rocha as she went out to have a chat with Maxwell. You also want to see Kelly Maxwell bear down and work through this.
Just gonna say that,
right?
I don't think that Jen Rocha wants to see her pull out of this situation. No. She wants to see her work through this feeling. Because I'm going to guarantee you, although that this feels shocking early in the season to be behind 1-0 for the Sooners, they're going to feel this again. Late in the run into postseason, they're going to feel this, and they need these reps. Kelly Maxwell needs these reps.
1-1, grounded down the left field line. It's going to be fair. Here comes Valdez, and she will stand up at third base. And Jordan Campbell with her second hit of the day. And Alyssa Brito immediately has the hands up saying it was foul. And we're going to get another look here. Home plate umpire Bill Gattuso was out immediately with the fair call.
Ooh. I don't know, you can see the chalk fly up down the line. So really then the question is, where did the ball fly over the bag? Was it fair or foul? And that's going to be a tough call.
And Coach Gasso out of the dugout, and the conversation being had, and she's going to go ahead and review it.
I mean, you talked about how many plays have we seen over at third, down that third baseline. Here's another one. And that is tough, but the ability to go in, I think, to your point, Aaron, we're seeing more coaches use this video review. It was introduced last year, and they're just kind of, okay, well, let's try this one. Let's try this one. Now they're more strategic with it. Obviously, this one, a bit of a no-brainer, big momentum shift, and Brito, she's pretty convincing.
And we can see the chalk fly on the front side of the bag. And now it's just determining where the ball landed on the other side.
I don't know if this is going to be enough to overturn this.
And we have the exact same view. The view you are seeing is the exact same view that our umpires are looking at right now.
You saw the chalk fly.
Yeah, and I'm with you, Aaron. It might be tough to overturn. Now with this, how many, I've gotten, and I'm sure you guys have gotten this question as well, how does the new field play? What are you feeling? Here's my new answer. There is a magnet on third base.
A ball magnet.
There we go.
Right.
Call on the field right now, a fair ball, and this is a critical call. And we have got a call. Call will stand, fair ball. And that will be Jordan Campbell's second base hit on the day to put runners at first and third and 2 outs for 8-hole hitter Cecilia Vasquez.
This latter half of the lineup for UL, they have been seeing the ball good. They have been swinging hard.
You go back to right now, and Langlier's getting thrown out at third base. Takes a run off the board. But an opportunity here, keeping an eye on Campbell at first base. 2 outs. Kelly Maxwell fires. And it's gonna get down. Valdez will score. And it is back-to-back singles for the Cajuns to make it 2-0 Louisiana.
And this right here is what you want to see from your offense, a response. This is elevated, curveball inside, but elevated. Just being able to get those hands in front so you're not caught behind your body. Hit well.
Kinsey Hansen makes her way out to have a chat with Maxwell, as looks like we may see a pinch hitter here in the 9 slot. And what's the message coming from Hansen right now, Aaron? 233 on the year. Has seen some time in the starting lineup. Started in the game against the Sooners yesterday. And away we go as Keeney fires the first pitch to Crater and just misses outside. Didn't miss by much as Keeney falls behind here. 2 balls and no strikes. And you can hear the Sooner faithful come to life.
Crater, a 278 hitter with runners on.
And it is 3 straight balls. You hear Sooner fans, but I gotta say, I'm a realist, a little low.
Yeah, that was low, and we know this umpire behind home plate, he is tight on the corners.
Big pitch here as Maya Davis, the leadoff hitter, waits on deck, leading this team in average. The 3-0 in for a called strike.
Keeney is a defensive pitcher. She's going to utilize her infield. That's something that these base runners have to be aware of. Make quality decisions.
3-1 fouled off, and Keeney back in the count. And everybody's gonna be moving. Big pitch here from Keeney. Runners at first and second, 2 outs, and a full count with Maya Davis waiting on deck. The pitch misses low. It is a 2-out walk, and that'll roll it back over to the Raging Cajuns leading hitter, Maya Davis.
So now you ask yourself the question, defensively, every single time that Davis has been in the box, there's been a defensive shift. What do you do now with bases loaded? You got to play her straight up.
Absolutely.
You got to pinch in. You can already see Alyssa Burrito pulling in, middle infield playing inside the base paths. You got to play her straight up. You have to be honest against Davis's bat.
First pitch to Davis, misses outside.
Here's the good thing, tag a bag.
There you go. You
tag a bag. You don't have to beat her. You just got to beat somebody.
And you know what? That's the best situation you want to be in.
Seriously, against her bat and her speed, you almost prefer this.
And you know who else is noticing this? Jerry Glasgow going to the dugout and getting some pinch runners out there, trying to get as much speed as possible on the base paths to try to take away that easy force play.
They'll just re-enter Falterman. greater pinch hit for.
Falterman at first, bases juiced for Maya Davis. And Keeney falls behind 2 balls and no strikes. And I've got to say, and I know those of you at home can hear the Sooner fans upset with some of these calls, but I'm going to be real, they're not strikes right now. Two-0 shows bunt. Clear take from Davis for the called strike.
And whenever you call on a pitcher to come in the middle of an inning, obviously Kelly Maxwell not getting out of the inning like Rocha wanted. Your job is to throw strikes, let your defense work, get ahead. Keeney, she's struggling.
3-1 fouled back, and talk about a tense moment here. Bases loaded, 2 outs, 3-2 counts.
Keeney's second 3-2. And if you're Davis, I'm feeling confident.
Payoff pitch, here comes the 3-2, and it just misses low. Davis will walk to bring in the 3rd run of the ball game for the Raging Cajuns, who are now up 3-0 here in the 4th.
Let's see the location here. This is the right call.
Yep, I'm with you.
It's the right call. I want to make that clear, because I know you guys can hear the rowdy crowd, and I get it. It can be frustrating. This isn't what you're used to seeing.
Wrapped up, and junior Maddie Hayden comes to the plate. Hayden a single back in the 3rd off of Kelly Maxwell. Bases loaded and 2 outs. But this is also a pitching staff that is able to breathe a lot more, knowing what this offense can do. But all that being said, you got to throw strikes as Keeney falls behind. 1-0 to Hayden, bases loaded. Ground ball right back to Keeney. She will retire Hayden to get out of it, but not before the Raging Cajuns put a pair on the board to make it 3-0. We head to the bottom of the 4th. This is Sooner softball. The Sooners, and Raging Cajun starter Chloe Riasetto has kept this offense quiet so far in this ball game.
Oh, Barry Switzer's here. Hello, the king.
The king. Gotta love when Barry's in the house. That's a good omen, right?
It has to be.
Ludlam lifts this foul down the right field line. Riasetto ahead quickly, no balls and 2 strikes. Aaron and Nicole, we were talking during the break, you know, we've seen a little bit of struggle from the pitching staff, but this is where you want to see this offense step up a little bit, right? Not that they don't step up every game all year, but when you're getting deep in a ball game, you're going to try to find a way to get some momentum. And sometimes that's all you need, as Riley Ludlam lifts a dying quail into center field for a leadoff single.
I've never heard that term. I'm going to start using that now. A dying quail.
Are you a country girl?
It works.
Bull Durham, man.
It works. That's good stuff.
Little nod to Kevin Costner there.
I've heard squib. I've heard dying quail. I'm going to start keeping DJ-isms over here.
I'll write a book. I'll write a book. And just as we said, the king was in the house, and that's going to be a good omen. Gotta love it.
The man, the myth.
One of the greats. It's always a good day when Barry Switzer's here. We're going to have a pinch runner for Riley Ludlam. Looks like Ella Parker at first base. You got to love it from Ludlam, finding a way just to get enough to get something moving here in the 4th. Kenzie Hansen stands in, had a single back in the 2nd.
Back to that point, I feel like Oklahoma, with the exception of yesterday, typically their runs come 4th inning, 3rd inning, 5th inning. You see a lot of runs in those areas. Again, with the exception of yesterday. Their pitchers have carried that offense up until that point, and it's a little bit reversed. Good pitch on that inside. Almost made Kinsey Hansen take that bait. But even then, even with that missed pitch, that's a setup pitch. That's a great pitcher's pitch.
Read my mind, Mindy. Usetto brings a 2-1. And nice location again, breaking the curveball to the knee, but Kinsey Hansen showing some discipline, and Usetto falls behind. And we have not seen her do this much today, but behind 3 balls and a strike. Spot hit well to right center field, and Kinsey Hansen does it again! Make it a 2-run shot for K9. And the Sooners are right back in this ball game with one swing of the bat from none other than Kinsey Hansen. Cuts the lead to 3-2. Biggest moments for Kinsey Hansen.
I mean, that's where she lives. Again and again and again. This one on that low outer corner. Watch her posture that entire swing. She stays down on that ball, that upper half of her body. She has to go down. She's a tall girl, but the ability to hold that core strong all the way through extension.
Home run brought to you by Oklahoma Oil and Natural Gas, which brings up Riley Boone with nobody on and nobody out here in the bottom of the 4th. Louisiana's up 3-2. Tough to see again whether or not there's a lot of movement in the Louisiana bullpen. Little check swing, gonna get under the glove, but Langeliers takes care of Boone at first base for the first out of the inning.
They score the most runs in the 4th inning. 36 runs of the 150 they've scored so far in 2024 have come in the 4th. So the distribution really is early in games, but the sweet spot for them is 3rd and 4th inning. That's where they do their best work.
Sid Sanders stands in, 0 for 1 here on the day. Struck well to left field, and what a play by Maddie Hayden.
Oh my
Listen,
God.
We talked about her offensively, right? She's been the star for Louisiana this season offensively, has been a stud at the plate, but what she just did to take away, at minimum, a double from Sid Sanders, minimum.
And Aaron, you were an outfielder. How tough is that catch over your shoulder like that?
Like
Look,
actual
Mindy,
goosebumps.
Look at the screen. SC Sports Center Top 10 nominee, absolutely.
as it should be. Cassidy Pickering stands in with nobody on and 2 outs. Maddie Hayden, what a play. And just like that, Usetto ahead, no balls and 2 strikes.
I could talk about that catch for the next 10 minutes easy. That was beautiful.
And let's talk about this, right? OU has been the line, everything you can think about. 71-game win streak right now. Those are the types of plays you have to beat this team. Plain and simple.
That's a fact. That's a really good point. You can't just do the routine things. You've got to do routine really well and airtight, and then you got to bring a little extra juice in the tank. Usetto's had the juice.
Absolutely.
Offense has had the juice.
Pickering stays alive. Trying to get something moving here with 2 outs. After the Sooners break up the shutout after a 2-run shot from Kinsey Hansen. Makes it 3-2 Louisiana. Riasetto, this is the 1-2, just a little bit low.
Pickering has the highest average against lefty pitchers. The lefty-lefty matchup is her jam, hitting .667 against that side of a pitcher's dominance.
And line drive right at Kayla Falterman in right field. But, gotta say, and we got ourselves a ball game here. 3-2, Raging
Great
Cajuns.
game.
Keeney looks to settle in. And fires a strike to Sam Rowe. Rowe walked back in the first and struck out in the third. Yo one, Brito fired across, and Rowe is retired for the first out of the inning. Now to bring up Alexa Langeliers.
Nice pitch location by Keeney on that one. Because we talked about Rowe. Like what she does, just gets in on the hands tight, jams her up.
The pace has already changed. You can feel them moving quicker.
You read my mind, Aaron.
That's what you want. Again, some of those like unwritten rules in our game, you feel your offense come out, they put 2 runs on the board. You want to feel Carly Keeney come out and move quick, work fast.
And Alexa Langeliers, a family of ball players. Her brother Shay is a catcher for the Oakland A's, played in the Big 12 at Baylor. Family athletes, family of just good ball players. Keeney falls behind 2 balls and a strike. And a couple changes defensively for the Sooners as Hannah Core checks in left field. Two one, struck well to center field. Jada Coleman is going to be under it though for the second out of the inning. We talk all the time how this is a game of momentum. You gotta love seeing Carly Keeney come in after getting a 2-run spot and getting 2 quick outs.
Absolutely. And to be able to feel that as a pitcher, that pressure, that momentum, that crowd, that's something that Carly Keeney probably hasn't felt too much.
Sophie Piscos, 1 pitch, ground ball to Alyssa Brito, and Carly Keeney retires the sign. Has been solid so far in this ball game. Only blemish, the 2-run shot from Kinsey Hansen back in the 4th. Selena Torres stands in, flew out to right field back in the 2nd. And we were talking during the break, and so much has happened in the last inning and a half in this ball game as far as momentum. But Carly Keeney retired the side in the top half of the inning, the first 1-2-3 inning defensively for Sooners so far today.
Torres and Coleman represent the last 2 to face Riasetto, and that completes 2 times through the order.
Riasetto herself, she hasn't gone 1-2-3, but she did back in the 1st, but ever since then, she's been pretty efficient. She's no more than 5 in 1 inning.
1-2, swing and a miss by Torres to mark Riasetto's 3rd strikeout on the day. Gotta say this, nice location coming from Riasetto.
Just under the bat, right underneath the knees. That's what happens whenever you get ahead in the count. You can throw those pitchers' pitches.
I don't know what Riasetto ate for breakfast today.
Her Wheaties, what do you mean?
But she better start eating that every single time she gets the start.
Strikeout brings up Jada Coleman as Riasetto falls behind, 2 balls and no strikes. And I've got to say this is something I track in my scorebook, which probably makes me mess my scorebook up sometimes, but Riasetto has done such a great job of working ahead. The one time she fell behind Kinsey Hansen. 3-1 count. And behind here, 2 balls and no strikes to Jada Coleman. She misses low and falls behind 3-0.
Oh, that was the pitch. I know 3-0 count. But if you're Jada Coleman, do you dare give her a red light?
I think she's earned it. What do you say?
I guess that's why. That's why you take so you can get a free bag.
That marks Jada Coleman's 2nd walk on the day to roll it back over to Alyssa Brito, who has been about as hot as they come. 1 for 2 here today with a single back in the 3rd, but has put on an absolute clinic this weekend. Riasetto falls behind again, 1 ball. Line drive right at Sophie Piscos, who tries to fire it over. Jada Coleman back safely.
That was a great snag by Piscos. I mean, that's right in between her legs. I don't even think she moved from her ready stance. She didn't.
There's still a magnet over there at third base, TJ.
I'm telling you, it's how this field plays.
Talk about Jada Coleman getting back to first, too, on that, though.
It happened so quickly. And again, this Raging Cajun defense holding it down here today as Jennings stands in. And a good hitters count here, 2 balls and no strikes.
We talked about that. You gotta have the routine plays, gotta make them, but you gotta make some really good ones too. And, well, they showed up.
2-0 catches the outside corner for a called strike. Lifted, and it's going to get down right in front of Fulterman in right field. Coleman takes off and it will stand up at third, and Tiare Jennings reading the throw and getting into scoring position.
We just talked about how UL, their defense looks so good. This one, the hit itself wasn't the factor. This one, what was it, a dying quail?
Yes, ma'am.
This one just falls in between second base and right field, and both of them track after it, but Vasquez, she doesn't cover second. Tiare Jennings sees that. She's able to roll into second base entirely way too easily. You expect Jada Coleman to go first or third on that. With her speed, with her aggression as a base runner, you kind of expect that as an outfielder. You expect that. But for no one to be covering second base, that is tough, because now you have 2 Sooners in scoring position with some hot bats.
Tying run in Jada Coleman at third base. The go-ahead run represented by Tiare Jennings at second. And we're going to see the freshman Ella Parker has not had an at-bat here today, but has shown what she can do with the stick. That average it right at 400 on the season, and an opportunity here to tie this ball game up. Go-ahead run at second base with 2 outs. 1-0, grounded right at Piscos. Fires, and they're gonna say she was on the bag. Coach Gasso immediately calling for the review. And I've got to say, Sam Rowe hung in on a not outstanding throw across. However, to the naked eye immediately, I think we've got an out at first. What are we saying here?
I think she stuck that toe.
I'm scared to say anything, to be honest.
Yeah.
I definitely want to see this. I want to see the replay of this. I want to understand what we're working with. There was contact made, and I meant Jada Coleman. She was the runner, the base runner on third base that represents the tying run.
And you can hear it. You don't even need to hear us say it. And the call is going to stand that Ella Parker was out at first base. Call is upheld. Louisiana maintains its lead over the Oklahoma Sooners, 3-2.
Let's take a look at it.
We are in the top of the 6th. Cajuns on top, 3-2. And drama is high, to say the least.
An understatement.
Victoria Valdez leads it off for Louisiana. And Carly Keeney back to work. Lot to unpack, guys. Lot to unpack. It's the 0-1 is lifted to left field. Jennings is back to make the catch for the first out of the inning. To bring up Jordan Campbell, and I would be downplaying if I said Jordan Campbell has not been a difference maker in this game. 2 for 2 with a pair of runs scored, an RBI, and a home run. Faces Keeney for the first time here this afternoon. The 1-0. Nice location from Keeney. I know we've got an elephant in the room right now. And we're going to talk about it. But as we're looking through and kind of going back to the bottom of the 5th and the review, we're going to probably take a look at it at some point one more time. But I think the conversation now is whether or not Ella Parker touched first base.
I was too busy looking at the foot of the first baseman, Rowe, to see if that foot lost contact with first.
2-1 laced right at Riley Boone in right field for the second out of the inning. And Jordan Campbell is finally sat down on the day, but not before putting a good swing on a ball.
My first reaction with that ball off the bat was, man, that's in the gap. And then see Riley Boone, she started off a little bit cheated over, far away from that right field line, that's for sure. Her setups have been really good in the outfield.
So we've talked a lot as Cecilia Vasquez stands in with nobody on and 2 outs. How that third base line has been a magnet all weekend, and it continues. I think one of the first traditions here at Loves Field is going to be the fans. Every ground ball down third base is now being shouted fair. As Vasquez stays alive. Keeney ahead here, no balls and 2 strikes.
And I gotta say, I am so impressed with UL. This crowd, very loud, very hostile, coming in, playing the way that they've been playing. Calm, cool, collected.
The 0-2 just a bit outside. And good discipline from Vasquez.
It's a great 0-2. Keeney, this is a pitcher's pitch. She's just seeing, will she take the bait?
It's a good
Little
location.
low. But for 0-2, that's a good spot.
I'm with you.
Especially with the way that UL has been swinging.
1-2 popped up to the left side. Alyssa Brito gives chase if she's got room. And just off her glove. This is one of those moments where you can see the different landscape of the field.
This is what you want to see from Carly Keeney. by the way, just to silence an offense long enough to bring her team back up to the plate. This is a very close ball game. Louisiana's put a lot of solid swings on good pitches today. They challenged Kelly Maxwell. And even now, battling deep, Carly Keeney coming in relief for Maxwell. She did not look sharp. And since then, after a very dramatic inning, last half inning, which we'll get into, you want to see her step into the circle and be assertive, be dominant, challenge the strike zone, and she got 2 quick outs.
At this point, Keeney has now retired 6 in a row. Pitchers count here, 1 ball and 2 strikes to Vasquez. Struck well to center field, but we got a Jada Coleman. And that'll do it. Keeney sits him down in order. We head to the bottom.
There's a different call.
Yep.
There's a different call at first if there's a safety bag.
I wholeheartedly agree. And as Kenzie Hansen stands in to lead off the 6th inning.
Not only is there no collision, but then there's successful contact made at first base and a cleaner call, I believe, for umpires to make.
The 1-0. Kenzie Hansen leading off the 6th and has been responsible for both Sooner runs here in this ball game. Hit a 2-run shot back in the 4th inning to make it 3-2, and that's been all she wrote for the Sooners offensively, as Chloe Riasetto has been really good.
I don't know where that ball missed, so it's good to know that the close calls have been swinging both ways. At least it's consistent, right?
Yep. 2-1 upstairs and just misses Hansen.
I think if I read those lips correctly, she said, I tried. I tried. Hey, any way on is a win right here to set the table.
Riasetto falls behind 3 balls and a strike to Kenzie Hansen. You got to be careful with this pitch. Riasetto's done such a great job of working ahead in pitchers' counts. Got to be smart here. 3-1. Right down the chute, evens it up. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
And again, it's trusting yourself. That's the same pitch, maybe even a little bit more over the plate that Kenzie Hansen shot out. 3-1, that's it.
3-2 in the dirt, and Kenzie Hansen is aboard with a leadoff walk here in the 6th. Hansen representing the tying run in this ball game to bring up Riley Boone.
Heck of an at-bat for Kenzie Hansen, and a cardinal sin at this point in the game for Riasetto. Make Kenzie Hansen beat you. I get it. She's put on a hero show this whole weekend, but don't give her the free base. You got ball game left. Make her beat you with the swing.
A lot of options here as Coach Gasso has the play card out. Sooner fans on their feet. Riley Boone shows bunt, and it's a beauty as Piscos fires. Boone is safe at first. Piscos did about all she could. Perfectly placed bunt by Riley Boone and gives runners at first and second, and nobody out for Sydney Sanders.
Piscos had to know this was coming. She had a slap earlier. She got Riley Boone out. This one, I mean, that is a tough play. Like you said, DJ, all she could. But look where this falls. It's in no man's land.
Yep. And Aaron,
talk about spark plug.
and Aaron, you talk about this a lot. Expecting, playing a pitch ahead. You think Pisco should have been tighter in?
I think the infield shouldn't allow the short game to beat them right there. If you're gonna beat me, earn it. Earn it. You've got the speed at the plate of Riley Boone. She showed bunt already twice today. Again, it's some of the fundamental defensive decisions, and we have seen Louisiana struggle in that department all season long.
Meeting over. And in a time where you're curious to see if, when, if ever, Louisiana is going to go to the bullpen, Rhea Seto is going to stay in this ball game. She has been solid for the Raging Cajuns. Runners at first and second with Sydney Sanders at the plate. Kinsey Hansen representing the tying run at second base. Pitch out, and Hansen is hung up between second and third. And Hansen is going to be tagged out and out of the baseline. Boone will move up to second base, and we talk cardinal sins in this game. We've seen a couple. Leadoff walk, thrown out at third base, and now Kinsey Hansen hung up in between second and third on a back pick.
This was a pitch out. You can see Valdez almost completely in her standing stance behind home plate. And Hansen just out to dry, plays right into the throw. You could see the frustration from Coach Gasso in the third base coaching box. Very uncharacteristic base running mistake by the Sooners, who have been lights out on the base paths all weekend long. That's been a shining point for me.
And just like that, one out. As the 1-0 misses a bit inside, and
we've talked about it all game long. To beat Oklahoma, you have to do the little things right. You have to make some great plays. And I mean, they're getting a little bit of help. Oklahoma, they're doing some things wrong. This has been such a great game. And I keep talking about how hungry the Cajuns are. They want this game. They want this win.
Rhea Seto fires the 2-1, misses low, falls behind 3 balls and a strike. Riley Boone moved up to second base and into scoring position on the rundown. Again, represents the tying run in this ball game. 3-1 lifted, foul to left field. Hayden gives chase, was not able to come up with it. Count runs full.
We've seen Jada Coleman get called out early at second base. We've seen a very borderline call at first base. And now we have seen a pickle that was unsuccessful getting caught between second and third. In all 3, I mean, crucial points of this game. Crucial.
The 3-2 line drive back at Rhea Seto. She recovers to throw out Sanders. Boone takes off and is going to slide safely into third base. Can't hit it much better than that. And Rhea Seto holding her own in circle.
We've seen 2 where the bat just rockets the ball off, and these defenders, they're not able to move. This one, Rhea Seto's glove was in the perfect spot. And Riley Boone, again, we talk about aggressive base running. She's safe, but that is tight.
Cassidy Pickering will re-enter this ball game after Hannah Core was in left. Pickering, a spot here for the freshman. Runner at third, 2 outs. First pitch misses low. And you've said this a lot, Aaron, Pickering and how well she sees left-handed pitchers. 0 for 2 here today.
A 667 hitter against left-handed arms. A 462 hitter with runners on.
2-0, catches the outside corner for called strike 1. Pickering lined out to right field back in the 4th, struck out swinging in the 2nd. Opportunity to tie this ball game up.
She leads the team with a 600 average with 2 outs. If you're picking somebody to be at the plate right now, it's Pickering. It's the freshman.
2-2. Misses outside and count runs full. Avery Hodge waits on deck. Tying run at third, 2 outs. Payoff pitch. Pickering stays alive.
How about this? She leads the team in average with 2 outs. She leads the team in average with 2 strikes. She leads the team in average with runners on, and she leads the team in average with a left-handed pitcher in the circle.
Well, here we go. Ground ball gets away, but just in time, Langeliers recovers to fire Pickering out at first base. And Riaceto gets out of it. Oklahoma trails 3-2.
We've all talked about base running for Oklahoma. It's been one of the strongest areas of their game all weekend, and it has cost them huge in this last matchup of the weekend.
Kayla Falterman leading off the top of the 7th for the Ragin' Cajuns. You know, we were talking in the break, Nicole, about the Sooner base running mistakes, but you look on the other side of the ball as well. Louisiana potentially had a run taken off the board from some base running miscues early in this game as well.
Yeah, and it just goes to show, I feel like this whole game, it has been high energy, high intensity, not just from these two teams and the situations, the momentum, the calls, but the crowd. Mentioned it almost the very first pitch. And with that, as athletes who aren't used to playing in this type of crowd early on this season, you kind of have to get used to it. You have to rise up to the challenge. I think both of them felt that. The moment getting a little bit too big instead of slowing down.
2-2 to Falterman. Popped up to center field, and Jada Coleman's going to take care of it. And that's a big out to start the 7th as this lineup rolls back over to the ever-dangerous Maya Davis.
But, Aaron, you talked about Oklahoma. Keys to the game. Finish. How do they finish here?
Well, Carly Keeney's had 2 1-2-3 innings, so it starts with her having another 1-2-3 inning, getting her team back into the dugout, but too many left on base for Oklahoma. They've left 4 on base, but they should have had more if it weren't for the base running miscues. There would have been more runners left on base.
We're seeing Coach Gasso come out of the dugout to put on the shift that we've seen each time nearly that Maya Davis has been in the box. And Jada Coleman in essentially to play second base. Avery Hodge shifted over. Jennings in the 5-6 hole. At this point, Keeney has retired 8 in a row and has really settled in nicely. 1-0 fouled off.
Defensive shift in effect.
A lot of room in the outfield. You don't need anything crazy. Squib would work just fine.
Well, if I'm Keeney, I'm keeping the ball low. Trying to keep the ball on the ground, make her hit in to the defensive shift. You've got Jada, the extra infielder, on the dirt.
Lifted to left field, and it's going to pop out of the glove of Pickering, and Maya Davis will have what I am going to assume is going to be ruled a stand-up double since Pickering left her feet.
I mean, that was placed perfectly. And a great effort by Pickering. She's in left center, ranges over, and it's on that land, on that impact, it just pops out of her glove.
That'll bring up Maddie Hayden. Ground ball right at Jennings, and the bobble. Hayden is aboard. Put runners at first and second with 1 out. And again, something very uncharacteristic of this infield.
UL is hitting this ball hard. That makes this defense uncomfortable. They're forcing them to make hard plays under pressure. Oklahoma, they've been faltering a little bit. But that run, it should be a 4-2 game right now for UL. How do you get that run back? How do you make up for that?
Step up right here, yeah. Sam Rowe in the box. 0 for 2 here today. And a big spot here for Carly Keeney. Maya Davis takes off on the double steal, and you can see Rowe swing through it. Both runners move up to second and third, and a double steal.
Yeah, this is definitely a play call. So you can see the swing through, trying to delay the throw from Hansen behind the plate. Almost too much momentum from Davis. She lost contact with the hand. She reaches back to third base, and no review is made. I'm trying to confirm here if there's any reviews left.
Maya Davis scores on yet what will be ruled an error.
It will be.
Cajuns on top, 4-2. And you see Davis take off, and what we see the Sooner offense do so often. And Kinsey Hansen just dropped the ball.
Listen, when you've got someone running full speed right at you, this is something that a catcher, especially Kinsey Hansen, should be prepped for.
Gonna bring up Alexa Langeliers with runners at first and third and 1 out after 2 Sooner defensive errors in this inning.
So this is what I see. I see UL catching this Oklahoma team off guard, whether it's defense, whether it's offense. They're doing that so well. They're catching them by surprise. And I'm seeing Oklahoma rush. They're trying to do too many things too fast. Ball, bag, backup. I mean, that's the basics that you learn.
Ground ball, same play. And this time, the out at home as Maddie Hayden is thrown out. Rowe will move up to second base. They bring up Sophie Piscos with runners at first and second and 2 outs.
If you're UL, gotta try that again. You were successful once.
Here's my only critique, and I agree, Nicole. Here's my critique. Getting a rundown. Stop. Don't just run into the tag at home. It popped up on the infield, and this should do it. Jennings will glove it. We head to the bottom of the 7th. Final call for the Sooners as UL leads 4-2. Can't count them out. Chloe Riasetto on the day has been dynamite. 6 innings pitched, scattered 7 hits, gave up the 2 earned runs on the 2-run shot from Kinsey Hansen. Walked 3 and struck out 3, but if anything, has done a great job of straining runners and working out of jams.
She's really allowed her defense to work. Her pitches, they're just good enough to where they're not going to get hit hard, with the exception you talked about of Kinsey Hansen. Fell behind 3-0, came back 3-1, and that one was blasted. But besides that one exception, she's done a good job just keeping it out of reach, out of that sweet spot.
Avery Hodge leading it off, shows bunts, and Pisco crashing, but they're going to say that Hodge pulled back for ball 1. And first base umpire Riley Cobb, I believe, if this isn't a warning, I think
it is. And you could see UL coach coming out of the dugout expressing his displeasure, because I mean, I think we saw the same thing. We thought that Hodge offered on that bunt, and coach wasn't happy about it, came out of the dugout talking to the umpire. But if you're not the head coach, you're not allowed to. That's something that UL had early on in the game, in a game against Cal.
And that was Hunter Veach, first season at Louisiana.
And getting another look. Definitely borderline. As the 1-0 misses upstairs, and Riasetto behind here. 2 balls and no strikes. Couple changes here for the Raging Cajuns. Brooke Elstad in at shortstop. 2-0. In for called strike 1.
Nice pitch on that inside half. You see Hodge step off, not expecting that pitch to be so tight. Again, just throwing him off balance.
2-1 misses up. 3-1 count. How important is this base runner right now for the Sooners? The 3-1, gonna be ball 4. And Avery Hodge is aboard with a leadoff walk.
I think she just got away with one here. I don't know where this missed.
Yeah.
It was already called once this at bat, but she has got to be thankful that that went her way. Sets the table, draws the walk. Wow.
And if you're
I just took a
Riasetto,
collective exhale there.
if you're Riasetto, you love that pitch. But it was called. Moving on to the next one. How do you attack these batters? How do you continue to keep them off balance?
Hodge marks Riasetto's 4th walk here today as Jada Coleman is ahead 1 ball and no strikes. Make that 2-0 as Coleman represents the tying run here in the bottom of the 7th inning. The Raging Cajuns are up 4-2. The runner at first and nobody out.
Again, you see that ball on the inside corner, called for a strike. It's just peppering what you know. It's close enough to nibble. And if he calls it a strike, he calls it a strike.
Sooner fans on their feet. You could cut the tension with a knife here at Lux Field. Riasetto fires the 2-2 and misses outside. Count runs full. Starting to see Riasetto get into deeper counts here in the last couple of innings as her pitch count lifts over that 100 pitch mark. Payoff pitch to Jada Coleman. Popped up on the infield. Elstad is under it for the first out of the 7th inning. That'll roll it back over to Alyssa Brito.
I mean, you mentioned, okay, we're starting to see deeper counts, more hit balls, but with Jada Coleman flying out, this is now the start of the 4th time through the lineup for Oklahoma. You're gonna be able to make adjustments against the same pitcher, but
you should be able. You should be able.
Keyword.
You should be able to. And that's where they've struggled.
Alyssa Brito. Hit well to right field. Falterman is back, and she's going to catch it at the wall. Avery Hodge will tag and move into scoring position at second base. And Brito just missed tying this ball game up by about a foot.
I mean, she has been seeing the ball well all weekend long, but let's talk about that range by Falterman out in right field. By the time she catches that, she slams into the fence. I mean, you blow on this ball and it gets over the fence. Look at her track, and as soon as her feet touch the warning track, she doesn't slow down. She's committed to catching this.
Runner at second, 2 outs, and Tiare Jennings in what is the final hope for the Sooners to keep the win streak alive, sitting right now at 71 consecutive.
A .550 hitter with 2 outs. No stranger to pressure.
Jennings 2 for 3 here today with a pair of singles. Lines this one to the right center field gap. Hodge will score. Jennings is held up at first base, but chipping away to make this a 1-run ball game. Jennings with the RBI single makes it a 3-for-4 day to bring up Ella Parker.
Wow. Tiare Jennings smashes this ball. This ball is low in the zone. I don't even know if that was a strike. It was low outside. She just stays on it so well. But also, wow, Patty Gasso goes to her freshman. I mean, granted, she has looked amazing. But game on the line, pressure. Streak on the line, pressure. Crowd up, pressure. But this is what you learn. This is what you train for. And if you're UL, Glasgow is talking to his defense right now, talking to his team. He said, you have done all that you could. You have put yourself in the best positions. You are 1 out away.
If I'm Maria Seto, I'm attacking Ella Parker because I know who's standing on deck.
Yeah.
I know the hero, I know the super senior that is standing on the field salivating at an opportunity to be the one to do it again.
And it looks like we are going to see Riley Ludlam re-enter into this spot. Riley Ludlam started this game in the DP slot. Parker pinch hit back in the 5th. And Ludlam getting the nod here with the game on the line. Ludlam singled back in the 4th and came around to score on Hansen's 2-run home run. And we are also going to see a pinch runner in Maya Bland at first base for Jennings. And, you know, with this, you know, you hear in the sport of football, ice in the kicker, right? This has been a very slow process in which Ludlam has been re-entered. Now Maya Bland at first base. Coach Gasso intentionally slowing this game down. Riley Ludlam. Tying run at first base and 2 outs. Popped up to the right side, and it's going to get away from Langoliers. Maya Bland rounds third, and she's going to be held up. Ball gets away. Here comes Bland. We got ourselves a tie ball game. On what looked like a routine pop-up to Langoliers, it gets away, and chaos ensued, and the Sooners tie this game up 4-4, and Kinsey Hansen at the plate.
It's been defense that has been the Achilles heel for Louisiana all season long. What was the proudest part of this team just a season ago is now the area for the Raging Cajuns that they have struggled the most. They were 1 out away from ending a 71-game winning streak, and now it's a tie ball game in the 7th.
And compounded, again, the pop-up, and then the throw home when Maya Bland had been held up. The ball getting all the way to the backstop to score Bland. And now Kinsey Hansen, who has been the hero so many times, has an opportunity, and it's popped up. And what a catch from Victoria Valdez. And you hope that she's okay as the Louisiana trainers come out. And you hate to see this moment.
I think this is a serious injury that Louisiana is going to have to take a look at. What an effort. My goodness.
What an effort. We are heading to extras, and we are thinking about Victoria. And going to see a pinch hitter here. As I mentioned, Victoria Valdez, keeping her in our thoughts and hoping that she is okay. Made a heck of a play for her ball club, and hope to see that she is all right. There will be a substitution here. Denali Lecker into the ball game. Here in the top of the 8th, tied up at 4. As Lecker laces a pitch down the left field line. It's going to be fair. Lecker rounds first, but she's going to be held up for a long single to lead off the 8th.
First pitch, that ball. Lecker was ready. She was ready for the moment. She was ready for that pitch, but Cassidy Pickering, that was a good defensive field off that wall. We saw her earlier, ball bounced past her. She still getting used to it. Hold that to a single, that's big in extras.
Jordan Campbell stands in. Ground ball, Brito picks it off, and it's gonna be bobbled for what will be the third error by this OU defense here today.
I got one for you. It's been 117 games since OU has had 2 errors in the same inning. We've had 3 errors in 1 game. Very uncharacteristic for OU.
Louisiana runners at first and second. Brings up Cecilia Vasquez. 1 for 3 here today. Shows bunt. Go ahead run at second base here in the top of the 8th. You know, we talk, how many, again, 71 consecutive win streak on the line here for the Sooners. Seeing some 3 errors on the board again. Uncharacteristic. Ground ball right back to Keeney. It's gonna get away. Everybody's safe. Make it 4. Again, as Tiare Jennings calls time, calls her infield in and says, let's have a chat.
I don't even recognize this team.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say it the way it truly feels up here calling this game. I can't stress enough that Louisiana has earned this extra inning, right? They've played well. Maria Seto has brought her game. Defense has challenged while there's been some errors. But I have got to just call it like it is. Oklahoma is beating themselves. This is a very, very uncharacteristic outing from the Sooners.
Going to see a pinch hitter here with bases loaded and nobody out, as the junior Samantha Grader gets the call. Grader on the year hitting .231, 111 with runners in scoring position, but here's the kicker, .333 with bases loaded. So I may have jumped the gun a little bit, and I'll own it. Vasquez ruled a single. So
if it touches the glove and it bounces off, to me, that's an error. That should be ruled an error.
Ground ball, diving, Tiare Jennings gets away. That will score. Lecker to make it a 5-4 game. Everybody's safe, bases still juiced, and nobody out.
Well, based on the history of this inning, I'm gonna assume that one will also be called a base hit, right? Pulled into the 5-6 hole. It's so hard to make a call on these when you know what type of infield you're dealing with. When you know what type of athletes are on the dirt. That is what would normally be a play made by Tiare Jennings.
We're gonna have a pinch runner here as Deja Williams, the freshman, will come in at third base to pinch run. Will be ruled a hit. And you know, I'm with you, Aaron. I think we have such a high standard, as would Coach Gasso. She'll be the first to tell you. You know, I think Jennings in the 5-6 hole, it's a great play if it's made. Also a difficult play, right? But I agree with you, Mindy. I think the ground ball back to Keeney in the circle.
To that point, if you're UL and you're huddled up going into this inning, you're saying Oklahoma, they have caved time and time again against pressure this game. You've seen them stress, rush, keep applying the pressure.
And what a spot here for Maya Davis. Leadoff hitter for Louisiana. Bases loaded, nobody out. And Keeney had here, no balls and 2 strikes. Davis, a double in the 7th inning, came around to score. Rage Occasion's up, 5-4. And called third strike on Maya Davis on the outside corner for the first out of the inning. And if you're gonna get a K in this situation, that's a big one.
It's a well-spotted pitch by Keeney.
excellent frame behind the plate from Hansen too, because remember, this umpire behind the plate is tight on that outside corner.
Maddie Hayden, the junior, stands in, hacking first pitch. Louisiana.
Right now, Oklahoma, their infield in, their outfield in. If UL can get something in the gap, multiple run.
And how important for Louisiana right now to take advantage. Bases loaded, 1 out.
Well, Maddie Hayden's a 500 hitter with bases loaded.
Pitch gets away from Keeney, but what a job by Kinsey Hansen behind the plate, saving a run.
She almost got crossed up, didn't know where to put her glove. Excellent.
1-1, laced down the left field line. Foul, and Keeney ahead here, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
I think both teams feeling it. Pressure is a privilege. The team that handles it the best at the end of the game, that's gonna be the one that wins. They both felt it, they're both under it right now.
1-2 to Hayden, ground ball to Jennings. Gonna get the force at home. And that'll bring up Sam Rowe with 2 outs and bases loaded here in the top of the 8th inning.
This one just a swing to contact, almost like a wave.
Good location by Keeney. Off the glove and into left field. Here comes Rowe, and Rowe will score. Rowe does it. Rowe, the 2 RBI single.
Aaron, you talked about her force in her swing and the power that she has behind the ball. This one, Jennings, she's not able to get to it. That's drilled hard in that 5-6. Keeney has done such a good job since that first inning settling in, but that one is left over the plate. Again, I don't even know if that's in the 5-6.
Off the glove of Jennings. A single nonetheless. Makes it 7-4. Louisiana. Runners at first and third, 2 outs. For Alexa Langeliers.
Apply the pressure, apply the pressure.
And if we go back and we look at this inning, Sooners should have been out of the inning, right? 2 errors in the inning.
Feels like there should be a lot more errors on the board, just based on what we've seen. Finally making a routine play to secure the 3rd out. What a game we have had in Norman. A 7-0. They came ready. Riaceto has been lights out in the circle. Although they've had a few miscues defensively, this Raging Cajun squad came ready to throw a punch. And I think it caught Oklahoma on their heels.
This is the 2nd time this weekend that we've seen them on their heels.
Riley Boone leading it off here in the bottom of the 8th. And Riaceto at this point looking to go the distance. The 0-1 fly ball to Maddie Hayden in left for the first out of the inning. The Sooners down to 2 outs as Sydney Sanders comes to the plate.
If you're UL, that last inning, chaotic. They were 1 out away from finishing it 1 inning ago. Now with a 3-1 lead, a little bit more comfortable. You think their nerves might be stilled just a little bit.
Sydney Sanders 0 for 3 here today.
I will say this though, Oklahoma is not the back-to-back national champion for no reason.
Absolutely.
If there's a team that knows how to be in these situations and come out, It's them. Will they? I don't know. But they're a team that does.
Spot here, Riasetto falls behind, 3 balls and no strikes to Sydney Sanders. And here's the deal. You don't win 71 games in a row without having and being able to overcome some adversity. Riasetto brings the 3-1.
Nice pitch on that inside corner. Attack these hitters. That's what you said, Aaron. That's what Riasetto's doing. She is coming at them and making them work.
Struck well to left center field, and that's going to get out of here. Sydney Sanders gets one back with one swing of the bat to make it 7-5. And Sid Sanders chipping away here in the bottom of the 8th.
Feels good to finally draw some blood offensively for Oklahoma. I'm gonna be that girl. I look back at the leadoff of Boone and how that leadoff was so needed. It was so needed. A solo shot is better than 2 outs right now, but man, if you can set the table late in this ball game, you know it's just a matter of time before you see one leave the yard.
That home run's brought to you by Oklahoma Oil and Natural Gas, as head coach Jerry Glasgow goes to have a quick chat with Chloe Riasetto. And again, riding Riasetto to the end, and rightfully so. She has been good in this ball game as far as, now you look at the stat line, that's not the stat line you love to see as a pitcher, right? 5 runs on 10 hits. However, she has battled as Cassie Pickering stands in with nobody on and 1 out. Sooners still trail 7-5 here in the bottom of the 8th. Pickering looking for her first hit of the day. And Riasetto falls behind, 2 balls and no strikes.
She has thrown 127 pitches. Talk about discipline, talk about endurance, talk about gamer.
2-1, hit well to center field. Davis is back, and she'll make the catch at the warning track. And it's final call for the Sooners, as Alina Torres looks to keep the streak alive. 71-game win streak on the line. It is the longest winning streak in Division I college softball history. Sooners down to their final out here at Loves Field. Still a hill to climb with the 2-run deficit. Torres drew a walk in the 7th, came around to score. She awaits the 2-1. Line drive, and it's going to get down for a single to bring up Jada Coleman.
It's the right approach by Torres. She doesn't overswing. She's not out of her shoes. She shortens up the barrel, and she sees the ball in a gap. That's high IQ hitting. That's understanding the importance that in this very moment, the most important thing I can do is, 1, stay alive and continue to pass the bat.
Jada Coleman stands in represents the tying run in this ball game. The runner at first and 2 outs. Coleman 0 for 1 here today with a pair of walks. And Riasetto going right at her. Ahead here, no balls and 2 strikes. Raging Cajuns a strike away from ending the historic 71-game win streak. Ground ball to Langeliers. And Louisiana has done it as they defeat the Oklahoma Sooners 7-5, and the 71-game win streak comes to an end.
UL, we talked about the quality of team this is. We talked about how they have been fighting, scraping, scratching, trying to get a win across. Several losses have led to this moment, have made them tough for this moment. Streaks are meant to be broken, and UL, they're making